This image is autobiographical, I guess, as much as anything else I've painted. You know, the little boy right there on the donkey overlooking the canyon. He's out there doing his job as a shepherd, which is what I pretty much was growing up. This is subtitled Reading the Ravens. Way down there, there's a group of ravens, and they're kind of doing their little circling thing. So the boy is reading the ravens, see what they're doing, see what they're up to. You know, if there's a carcass down there that they're feeding on, in which case you better go down and check, because it might be one of his lost sheep. So these are an image, I guess, encompassing responsibilities, you know, as well as, you know, just a moment of peace. From a distance, leading into the canyon is probably the road that the sheep camp is on. It's probably the road where the farm is. So the roads out there is always a road that really connects communities, connects kinship and responsibilities. Skylight Valley is an image that I've revisited a few times, and it is above the place I was born, right there on the side of the mesa in Shonto, in the valley with the black mesa looming over to the right-hand side, and the whole Shonto Plateau uplifting. It's right on the east side of that mesa. Way back in the 1950s, I emitted my first cry, along with a baby coyote howling up in a mesa. And I think it was a full moon, I hear. This is a painting of my constant vision of that place where I was born. The valley is kind of alive with light moving, undulating across the valley with the clouds moving over, sunbursts. So I always like that little drama of light and shadow in the valley as well. The best seat in a whole of creation. This is a painting entitled Ancestor Prayer. It is something I know well. Times of days, reasons, there's always moments for prayers. And this image, I made a boy sitting early in the morning, facing the east, the rising sun. On his right hand, he has a feather of a golden eagle. And over on his left hand is a small white shell. And in the white shell would be cornmeal, white cornmeal, and that would be what is used as a sacrament to the rising sun, to the prayer, to step out in sacredness again. The ancestor is kind of hovering in the background here. When one prays out there earnestly, one never prays alone. You're surrounded by ancestors, generations of holy people. Ancestor Prayer. Desert Bouquet is an image I don't see too often anymore because the grandmothers are usually now in the front, all comfortable and all in air conditioned. But this one, you know, I've seen way back in the days when I was a kid hitchhiking with my grandmother, maybe with my aunt, with my mom, you know, out to the store, out to the clinic, out somewhere. But there's always time spent on the road, on that little ribbon of asphalt across the crisscrossing the reservation. I titled it Desert Bouquet because it is always a beautiful image when the early wildflowers come out all along the roads, the blacktop all over. And that was usually where the garden is, like a beautiful little garden all over. Penstemons, globe mallows. So I just titled this Desert Bouquet, simply because she rises time and again. The night forum, a gathering at night. I don't know what they're discussing, but it looks like something kind of serious. And I wanted to make this one as if it was happening at a summer ceremony, like a second night of an enemy way ceremony. We call it Nda ceremony. It's 3 nights. The second night, when everybody's out there, bonfires and socializing and dancing and singing, and somebody's getting healed. Off to the side, you know, just little conversations, I guess regrouping, clans, relatives, families. And so it's always a social event, you know, out in the fire there with them. And I made a small indication of the mountain way back in the back, you know, indicated the sacredness of the earth and the fire. the highlighted faces, each one, etched with years and adventures. So people survive to tell stories around the campfire. Blue Winter Majesty, the mountain north of Flagstaff. It's sometime known as San Francisco Peaks, and we call it Dokoslid in Navajo. It's a very ancient word. I'm not really sure what it means, but that's what we call it. And it is in the moonlight that I've seen this time and again, spotlighting beautiful peaks and the snow banks and the whole area around it. Just kind of, I wanted to bring out the sacredness, the sanctity of the nighttime, the stars, the constellation, and we are part of that. Our mystery is their knowledge. Coyote is Ma'i in Navajo, Ma'i. Ma'i is kin, he's our relatives, he's our cousin. He's always been our cousin, in stories. He's a trickster. He's a wise sage. He's a hero. He's a coward. He embodies all of our characters and stories. So he's an intermediary between ours and the world of the mysteries. So here is Ma'i beneath the Anasazi cliff dwelling, pictograph and petroglyphs right there on the rock and the boulder behind him. We don't know what these mean. This is no record kept. We can only speculate. A lot of that is told in stories. Navajos, of course, we have our own stories about these Anasazi, which Anasazi means ancient elders. Unlike a lot of people that said ancient enemies, we never met these people to consider them enemies. So they're just ancient elders, spirit people. Their drawing indicate that. So it's a place of mysteries, and even to us, we do not allow kids in places like this because it's too powerful. I worked years with the National Park Service in some of these ruins, and I learned to respect the culture and its language. Gifting of the Mountain. This is on the mountain shadow side of Dokoslid, northern Arizona, and out there just west of Tuba City in the dry, parched land. The mountain still gives. It brings rain, it brings the moisture, and occasionally this dry, arid piece of ground gets water. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that beauty, again, of the mountain's gift in coaxing the rain clouds. The witness is an old gentleman looking up in the sky. Who knows what he witnessed? We can only speculate again. Maybe you are the viewer, are the being witnessed. I guess this is also a mystery to me. But I like a story that's possible. All the story that's possible with this. The witness. Saturday Night Taunts, number 2. In the 1970s, we used to be in line outside of the Kayenta Field House in Kayenta, Arizona. Those of us that didn't have enough entrance money, young people standing around on the outside of the huge entertainment center. We just stand around, being entertained and being taunted by our own shadows. So this is just a little thing about a throwback of a memory, I guess, of a camaraderie outside of being entertained, just outside of the entertainment center, because we didn't have enough money to get in. But apparently, they had enough money to get cigarettes. So every one of these people here, I don't really know them, but I guess I know them in one form or another. And I think it's all me in a certain way in every one of these little emotions and expressions. Saturday Night Taunts, just 1970s recollection. Premonition. A horse skull with a raven sitting on it. Gagi. That's a raven. This is just a nice contrasting image I really liked, between the bony white solid and the feathery black bird. Sheen, oily, mysterious, alive. So I put them there right where the ages and time are told in the land. As you can see with lines of colors across the land there, that those are probably separated by ages. Not so much a premonition of ugliness, it's just a premonition. It's just a little tap on the shoulder. What you do with it is pretty much a choice you are given. Beyond that, it's just a good, I guess what I consider a still life for me. But it's full of energy and story. Frost Awaken. This image I like, she's sitting there, emerging out of the ground, out of the season, out of the air, out of the heavens again, and out of the hems of her dress. Frost is coming back to take over the land. Frost is coming back to cover the land. Frost is coming back to blanket the earth so, children can sleep. Safety within the earth. So it is about, it's about the change of the season. It's my own personal myth. So she is the bringer of the frost. Here we have a midnight hogan. At some point, a door became ajar. Maybe the grandmother went to the outhouse. Maybe she went to get some firewood. The door is ajar. But there is a disturbance, it seems like, the dogs are alert and they're barking. The cat, meanwhile, is walking across the light here. The cat is always considered a guardian, a spiritual guardian, because it is dimension walker. It's a dimension seer and knower. The cat is there, it can see spirit world. So in the hogan, there's always a cat. I grew up with a cat in the hogan because the cats are always kind of like a spiritual security alarm. To have a cat around in the hogan, coupled with a gish, what we call a gish, fire poker. These are protectors. The fire poker, not to hurl at anyone, but it is just a fire poker that is a power on its own, kind of like a lightsaber, I suppose. But the cat is a guardian of the hogan, and so this hogan right here, I feel good about because it's under the constellation blessed, and the dogs are barking. Maybe they're disturbed by something way off in the distance. It's harmless. Maybe they're barking at their own shadows, but the cat is there. Eastern glow. Again, this is a revisit of my childhood place. In the evening, probably in the very evening when the eastern sky is totally illuminated by the low sun in the west. So I like that golden hue that just totally takes over the east. And so the whole valley glows. And I wanted to give it that light. I wanted to shower it with that light. I wanted to reclaim by that light eastern glow. And eastern direction, east is always a good direction, a holy direction. Like the fourth direction, the southern direction is the direction of youth, innocence. The western direction of knowledge, of healing. And the northern direction is mystery. It's always a mystery. I don't know, full of premonition, I suppose, but it is a mystery.